I'm recording this video especially for my baby. What I'm doing is I'm going to be cooking a local dish from Guam, one of our local favorites called Beef Tinaktak. And I'm just going to walk you through the steps real quick. The video will be jumping from step to step, so it's not a long video to watch, but I'll include every step that I go through. The only step I won't be including is the preparation stage, which I've already done. So the ingredients real quick for Beef Tinaktak, which like I said is what I'm going to be cooking, is of course ground beef, about 1 pound ground beef, your vegetables, cherry tomatoes, which you'll be slicing in half, a couple pieces of garlic you can slice in half or make slices of, and onions cut up. So that's your main ingredients. Oh, and green beans. Sometimes they're longer, string beans, whatever. I got them fresh this time. Usually I cook them when they're a little long. If I'm on a time crunch, I just get canned green beans. I cut them up into small bite-sized pieces, almost like what you can buy in the can. So that, some soy sauce, your seasonings, black pepper, garlic powder, salt, of course oil for browning the beef, and coconut milk. Alright, before I move on to the rest of the steps, I know that everyone has kind of their own way or recipe of doing this. This is just kind of my version and what I've come up with kind of over the years to tailor to the way I want to put everything together. So moving to the next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the stove on, heat up some oil, enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Then I'm going to throw the ground beef on there and start browning it. And that's where we'll catch up from. Okay? Alright. You don't want that oil to start to smoke, because once it starts to smoke, that's pretty much it for the oil. You want to start breaking it up. Some people actually make their tinaktak where it's chunks of beef. At least I've seen it done that way. I like to break mine up so it's real broken up. So just break it down a little bit. It'll get a little easier as it starts browning. This time, of course, season it a little bit. Pinch of salt. Just a little bit of salt, don't put too much salt. You can always add, but you can't take away in cooking, so we're going to be adding a lot more seasonings later. It's starting to brown, so I'm breaking it down even more. So while that's still browning a little bit, it's actually almost done. I know some of you are probably wondering why I didn't throw the garlic and the onions in yet. I didn't want it to overcook. I don't like my onions and garlic overcooked, where the onions are real soggy or real soft and it's just real mushy and not really there. So I actually throw that in a little later. Still breaking it down a little bit. There's still some big chunks. It's personal preference. I like the beef really broken up. Now some people drain all of the juice out after browning it. Sometimes I do, most of the times I don't. I'll just drain a little bit out, which now the beef's all brown, so I'm going to drain some of the juice out. So now I'm going to throw my onions and garlic in. So I just stir that in a little bit, keep the heat the same. Now I already have the coconut milk opened up, the can. Just throw that right in there. And then go ahead and throw some more seasoning on there. Okay, so I threw the coconut milk in there. I seasoned it a little bit. Turned the heat down just so it can simmer. Just a little bit lower than medium, so it's not boiling, but it's still simmering good. Now, depending how you like your green beans, You can either throw it in now so it can boil down and get a little softer, or you know, you can throw it in, just wait a couple minutes, throw it in later. But I'm throwing mine in now. Anytime you add anything in, it's gonna change it up a little bit. So a little more seasoning. Just a little salt, and we're actually gonna taste it in a little bit. Probably wondering why I haven't done that yet. It's because the reason why I haven't tasted it yet is because everything's gonna change when you throw in the tomatoes. And the tomatoes is one of the last things that you throw in. Just to get a good simmer there. So I'm just letting it simmer for a little bit. And then last thing I'm gonna throw in, after letting that simmer for a couple minutes, throw the tomatoes in there, stir it up, give it a taste. And that's where you pretty much just season it to your taste. I usually put some soy sauce in there. That way you get the soy sauce. Okay, so after I threw the green beans in, I let it simmer for a little bit. Just a couple minutes to let the green beans cook. Now the last thing I'm going to throw in are the tomatoes that I cut in half. Little cherry tomatoes. Cut that in half. I love tomatoes. Okay. After you throw it in there, season it a little bit. Now the dish is pretty much done. Let it simmer for a couple minutes, turn it off, you're good to go. The last step that I'm going to be doing though is seasoning to my taste, which everyone likes it differently. Of course, you know, growing up at home, I like things a little more saltier, so instead of just keep adding salt, I actually take some soy sauce and I drizzle a little bit in there, just like that. Some black pepper, a little more garlic powder. Now I'm going to start tasting it after adding that. Of course you want to stir it up good. And that is pretty much it until you get it to taste the way you like it. Remember, just do little by little. Taste it. If you want to add a little more, mix up, you know, season it a little more. Stir it up real good. Let it simmer a little bit. Taste it again. Just do little by little. You don't want to go too much. You can always add a little. You can't take any away. And that's pretty much it. Serve it over some hot white rice, and that's beef tinaktak for you. So yeah, enjoy.